Yeah, buddy. What is up? Welcome to Duct Tape Dynasty. I am the Duct Tape Dude.
I'm the dude.
And holy cow, we are at week wild card, super wild card weekend. It is here. We're at week, I don't know what, week 19, I guess is what it is. So official picks coming up, and we've made it. We're finally back. Had to delay a day. Apologies for that. But before we get started, do us a favor, minimize that screen. If you're not already a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. If you are a subscriber, please hit that like button as well. If you're not a subscriber, we'll take that as well. Like buttons, shares, whatever. We'll take them all. That helps us out tremendously. And I'll tell you what, whether you, well, here's a reason why. How about that? We're giving away jerseys. We're giving free stuff away. All you got to do is subscribe, type in the comments, sign me up during a show, and we'll throw a jersey your way. Pretty good likelihood that you'll end up with one. We've sent a few out so far, and we've got a few more to go, including this one right here, which is amazing, which is a JSA authenticated, signed by Super Bowl I champion Marv Fleming. It's his jersey, signed. We are giving that away. I've got it in a box right down here. I usually grab it and throw it up there. Go back and watch some of the old shows, and you'll see that I've got it. It's right there in the box with the other ones and all that good stuff, whatever. So, hey, here we are. I keep saying we, you only see me. So it's time to bring on tonight's guest host. No, dude, no, go back to what you were doing. Go back to what you were just doing. God dang it. I shouldn't.
Is your editing a bit off?
I didn't click over quick enough. He had his wife's 3-pound dumbbell and he was doing curls right as I brought him over, but he got rid of it just before I clicked and sent him over here. Well, Dano, how are you, brother? Welcome to the show. What's up? Sorry we had to cut it a day or whatever, extend by a day, whatever it is. Sorry for the delay, but thank you for coming back nonetheless. How are you?
Pretty good. It's been a fun week up here in Ohio. We got about almost a foot of snow dumped on us, so that might not be much to you Montanans, but for me growing up in South Texas, I am not used to that one bit. So took me a couple days to shovel ourselves out of it. But other than that, it's been going pretty good. And plus, the late Jimmy Carter got us a day off of work as well. So I know that they were doing the funeral for him, but there was a national federal holiday that day, so got Thursday off of work as well. So
yeah, as did I. So
that's right. Also a government employee. How was your week?
It was different. It was different. We're just gonna leave it at that. It's been an interesting week. We'll just say that. We had to delay for a day, and it was for reasons why the show, or why I say interesting. Whatever. Dude, let's get to it. We got some news to get to. Let's get to the show. We got some picks to get to. It's a Friday night, so people have got some things to get to, no doubt. And there's games that are on tonight, not NFL games, but college games. Who's playing tonight? College?
It's going to be University of Texas versus Ohio State. The Ohio State.
Can't forget the Ohio State.
That's right.
Didn't they try to trademark that back in the day? And then Michigan.
I don't know, but you know what they're trying to do in the state of Ohio is introduce legislation in the state legislature that makes it illegal for an opposing team to plant their flag on the 50-yard line.
Come on, how?
Yeah, I kid you not. That
wow.
is a law that is being introduced to the House or State Senate floor. So,
wow. Your tax dollars at work, folks.
That's the type of folks that I'm surrounded by here in Ohio. So that kind of makes me just want to go sneak in and plant my own flag there.
They've definitely got their priorities. Well, they've got priorities. We'll just
Yeah,
put
well,
it
they
at
did
that.
just legalize recreational marijuana here last election cycle as well. So
Well,
they got
far
that going
out,
for
brother. Go for it. Oh, wait, you're in the military. So, geez, wow. All right. So getting out of
On that
Ohio
note,
just in time.
just in time.
Jeez. Okay. Wow. 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 We got political. We never do. Let's get to NFL news,
Oh, you
shall
want to
we?
go deeper
You
into
know,
it? Oh, okay.
no, we do not. We do not. We've got some news to get to. The NFL regular season has officially come to an
Oh,
end.
it's
We are
done.
into the postseason. So as
Mhm.
our next section officially is, NFL news, but really I'm going to title it the exit interviews. So, there's a few players that we've been kind of checking in on throughout the season, a few names that you'll recognize, no doubt, even if you weren't here for the show in which we checked in on them, which was often. But let's see how it ended up. And I think it's only, yes, he's in Ohio. By the way, there's also snow here, Dano, and I am in Oklahoma. You talked about you're from
Oh, yeah?
Texas. Well, there's freaking like 3-4 inches of snow on the ground here. So yeah, I can't imagine what you guys are getting out there and what's headed Sportnik's way. He's out there in Bristol, Connecticut.
That's right. Connecticut.
With the extra season
Nailed
and
it.
whatnots. So anyway, a few players we've been checking in on throughout the season. One of them, most notably, is the guy who said, "Hey, you're not going to have to punt much here," or whatever he said. Rookie quarterback for none other than the Berenstain Bears, Caleb Williams. Final numbers for the regular season, final numbers for the 2024 season, because unfortunately they weren't good enough to get him into the playoffs. Caleb Williams threw for 2,937 yards in his rookie debut. And the kid who he texted and said, "Hey, you're not going to punt much here," punted for 3,209 yards, which far outpaced, 300 yards more than Caleb
You
Williams.
can take far out.
Yeah,
So,
kind of ish.
to put that in perspective, as well, the Bears' offense was, so anemic that their punter punted the second most punts this season, only behind the Browns punter. So if that gives you any indication on how stalled the Bears' offense was, obviously until they played the Vikings this last weekend. But other than that, they were doing pretty horrible all season long.
Dan coming out of the gates early.
Well, I can say these types of things when I don't have Andrew here to interrupt me, so
Yes.
and I can just ignore the comments. So.
Yeah, well, he's in there apparently. Geez, sorry, I'm adjusting sound left and right, trying to, when we did our sound checks and did our balances. Well, I didn't balance. I just kind of, whatever. So, anyway, sorry if the volumes are going up and down, but I'm trying to get there. All right.
So is Caleb Williams going to have a starting job next year?
Yes, Caleb Williams most certainly will continue to have a starting job in.
Will he throw for more yards than the punter has punt yards next season? Are we taking bets now?
I think they'll do some things to make sure he eclipses those numbers next year. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That's a safe bet, I would assume.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, because how could you get any worse?
Yeah, it wasn't much of a rookie debut. Let's just put it this way. He won't be getting rookie of the year. I mean, I think that's a safe bet. I think you can probably bet $100 and somehow lose 99 of it while winning the bet on that one in Vegas.
I think we got some pretty good players we're going to talk about a little bit later. Some rookies that are in the playoffs right now that are having outstanding years. That have a pretty significant
and some rejuvenated years and whatnot. Speaking of rejuvenated or lack thereof, word came out today that our second news, somebody we've checked in on a few times throughout the season, Mr. Deshaun Watson. yesterday tore his Achilles again.
What was he doing?
He rolled his ankle.
His rehab? Yeah.
He rolled his ankle doing, I don't know what. I think it says on there, but the words are way too small for me to be able to see now.
Rashawn underwent surgery Thursday after tearing his Achilles again, and his status for the 2025 ... You don't even have it.
See, it's in the ... That's where
I assume it's the same Achilles.
Yes, he re-tore his Achilles. So,
but what's his guaranteed money? Like
$240 million.
He's just going to be sitting on the bench, raking in the dough. Like, oh my goodness.
The Browns talk about getting burned. Like wow. Like I mean, the Chargers got the ultimate burn when it comes to draft bust, but when it comes to ultimate burn via NFL bust, albeit granted, this is due to injury somewhat. This has got to top everything. $240 guaranteed $1 million. And the dude, I mean, what has his production been? And now you got a double Achilles tear. I mean, bro, tough going. And I don't wish bad on him. Granted, he's got a shady past, but well.
I mean, even without setbacks like this, Achilles injuries are a long road to recovery. So I would be surprised if we see him back at all in 2025, especially since he did re-injure it.
Now.
His rehab on it is probably going to be, very, very slow to get him back to where he can do anything worthwhile. So I'd be surprised if we see him back.
Because he's going to have to go back in, have re-surgery. So I'm sure everything is re-swollen and all that. They're going through that cycle right now. So he's waiting for swelling to go down and all that stuff. And then they'll go in and re-accomplish. I mean, that's got to be a mess in there. And then his recovery time starts over. Granted, I mean, he has been in recovery and rehab for quite a while. Like, he had his surgery quite some time ago. And now his clock is restarting. And so, like you said, his 2025 season, and probably what this says, is in jeopardy. And I mean, it just adds to the burn of the Browns, man. Jeez, they should have never got rid of your boy. Sorry, Baker Mayfield. But I don't know where to go for that.
we can talk about old Baker.
We'll talk about him later because he is in the playoffs. But somebody. Well, I guess who is also in the playoffs, I guess he's still employed. Let's talk about our last exit interview for today in the news section, which is Carson Wentz, for those who don't know. He is a backup in Kansas City and got his start in Week 18, and boy, did he impress. 10 for 17 for 98 yards, no touchdowns. Did get sacked 4 times and managed to pull down a 75.1 rating. So McAfee every Monday does a segment called I Don't Want to Overreact, But, and people could submit via the former Twitter, the social media platform formerly known as Twitter. Sorry, I tried to prince that one. Now X. Anyway, he has this. I don't want. So I sent this in, just saying that. Look, I'm pretty sure that Wentz's performance, or Wentz just earned first pick of the "Hello, my name is" name tags at the next job fair in Kansas City. So, God, I can't read. So it was supposed to be. I know
what's going on here, Josh. I think you're trying to be funny with this, and it's quite humorous. But I think you're trying to dig on Wentz. And for those of you who don't know. Josh's alma mater there, right there on his chest, the old Bobcats of Montana State. There it is. Played in and lost.
Oh, come on.
The national championship game to none other than Wentz's alma mater, North Dakota State. So
again,
I see you're a little sour from the losses.
I was happy to make this graphic. Always happy to make this graphic. Granted, I made the graphic before Montana State had lost. However, it felt even better.
There you go. Yeah. You made it, but you felt bad about it, but now you don't. I get it.
No, I never felt bad about it to begin with. Let's be honest. All right, dude. Let's get on to the show and talk about our honor roll segment. I think you're going to start us off tonight because it's of theoretically your boys, kind of, sort of, you get it. It's one of the Denver Broncos. And by the way, this uniform is the uniform they need to go back to. This is one of my top 5 uniforms. Anyway, on a roll.
Cover up the bottom of your screen there, because it doesn't matter the Bo Nix stats, because he's on a roll for that fantastic uniform. 100% agree. They need to go back. This throwback needs to be the new uniform.
Yes,
I love it. It looks awesome. But Bo Nix, 26 for 29 yards against a bunch of B and C teamers in Kansas City. Almost was perfect in the first half, but threw one interception there at one incompletion there at the very end. But 26 for 29, 321 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 7 rushes for another 47 yards with a 152.4 rating. How high does that go up to?
It goes to 158.3.
Oh, so close. But Mr. Bo Nix, sir, you are on a roll.
Absolutely. And the next one, wearing another sick uniform, in my opinion, the Detroit Lions, Motor City, I don't know what, their dark uniform with the blue helmet. Dude, so cool. Jahmyr Gibbs, 23 rushes, pulling down, 139 yards, 3 tutties. Couldn't keep this guy out of the end zone. Took another, 5 receptions there? Here it comes. There it goes. For 31 yards and another tutty. This dude, 4 tutties. And by the way, that some of them came after he got absolutely planted. I don't know if you saw the hit or if you were even watching the game. I can't remember who the Viking was. I'm sure Andrew, if he's still in the comments, will remember one of the Vikings. I mean, it was supposed to be, I think, a screen pass or just kind of something out in the flat. And I mean, it was a Reggie Bush-like hit. You know, the one where Reggie Bush gets planted and loses all his wind and goes crawling back to the huddle. Well, Jahmyr Gibbs took a little time to get up. I am sorry. This is his on a roll moment, and I'm talking about him getting absolutely planted. But the point is, after being planted to that level, he still went and got 1 or 2 more tutties. So, Mr. Jahmyr Gibbs, sick performance. You, sir, are on a roll. All right, Dano, you got number 3. Here we go. It's yours.
All right. Number three nominee for honor roll is Drake London. 10 receptions for 187 yards and 2 touchdowns with a 39-yard long. That's 18.7 yards per catch, or yards average there. So Drake London doing pretty good this season. He's on a roll in the last week. So,
absolutely.
Good job, Drake.
Attaboy. Yeah. Sorry, I was going to say something inappropriate. I guess it's inappropriate. It used to be a sports thing. I was going to, hey, give that guy a butt slap. You know, you remember the old slap on the cheek? You know, that used to be a thing. Like, hey, go get him, Tiger. But you can't do that anymore. So I'm glad I didn't say it. That's my point.
That's good. That's good.
It's a good thing I kept that one on the inside. All right. So I should have just gone to this. Justin Herbert is our next honor roll nominee. My boy, I was happy to put him
Oregon
up there.
Quarterback.
Yes. Well, yes. Yeah. So the one prior to Bo Nix, actually. 28 for 36, or 28 of 36, 346 yards, only 2 tutties, but 4 rushes, 42 yards. That's over 10 yards per, and 125.2 rating. Like I said, happy to put my boy on here. Not saying that he's on there because I'm biased. I'm saying he's on there because Mr. Justin Herbert, you were on a roll. God, that was corny. But there we go. So these are our honor roll nominees. As we've said, these are the nominees. The reason they're not the champions or whatever is because this is actually decided upon by you, the listener, the watcher, the participant in the Instagram poll that we put up every week of the honor roll players of the week. So this is for last week's performance. I know this is now the day before we start the next week, but whatever. We'll announce the winner of the poll at the end of the show. So point is, we put it out on Instagram. You guys vote, and you decide who the winner is. So like I said, we'll find out who that is at the end of the show. But let's talk about the week that was, shall we? Let's talk about, more importantly, the Week 18 Pick'em results. Week 18 is always a tough one. Always a tough one because of the fact that, well, just like we talked about with Carl Wentz, you know, and well, you talked about it with Bo Nix and his performance, you know, against the B team of whoever they were playing. Well, Carl Wentz was going against the B team of whoever they were playing and didn't have as much success as Bo Nix. But so week 18 is usually pretty rough because you're getting a bunch of, you don't know who's going to be playing, is my point. But it worked out all right. We had three of us, I think yourself, myself, and Robbie were included in that at 10-6, which is, I give that a respectable week, don't you?
I mean, absolutely. Any week you come out on top is a respectable week. Hey, what are you going to do about that? But no, like you said, with week 18, you never know what's going to happen with who's going to bench who. Are they going to bench the whole team like the Chiefs did? Or are you just going to bench your Pro Bowl all-star players out of your roster? So, I kind of went on the extreme end of picking like 8 flyer picks. And I think about 50% of them hit, 50% of them didn't. Thanks Giants, thanks Browns.
Yep.
Whatever the final score of that Chiefs Broncos game was it like 38-0?
Yeah.
I wasn't necessarily expecting it to be, that one, that lopsided, but I guess it shows like what the dramatic drop off is between a starting roster of an NFL caliber team versus the second string. Like it's a significant difference.
It's amazing. I mean, the skill that it takes, it's just that puts it in perspective, which you do a good job of, Dan. You put things in perspective. That's why we keep having you back. But on this, your picks did not look like they were in perspective. However, as we saw, your outcome was right on par with the top of the league, which is hilarious because I was looking at this and, it's up to me to tally all the results at the end of the week. And I was looking at this and, I mean, of course, all those white check marks on their own stand out quite well against that black background. And, and I was like, wow, there's a lot of those. Dan's either going to have a really rough week or it all
washed out.
Yeah, like different people were getting there different ways, and it was just hilarious that we all ended up fairly bunched up. I mean, Sierra was only a game back at 9-7, then Agman and Dave one more back of that, and then Kevin one more back of that. I mean, it's like, granted, we're only talking 16 games, so you can only say one more back so many times, but we're doing okay. We're doing okay. Yeah. That's what I'm getting at. And I
think from a, not necessarily from a pick'em perspective, but just from a, from an NFL win-loss perspective, when I look at what, who needed to win, which teams needed other teams to lose, as we saw the playoff picture come more into perspective, I just feel, somewhat bad for the Bengals because they needed to essentially win out over the last couple games, and they needed the Broncos to lose out over those last couple games. And the Broncos were obliging and losing in week 16 and then 17 with some close games. The Bengals won their week 18 game, so they needed the Broncos to lose. And what happened? The Chiefs went out and rested every single starter. We saw that 38-0 result. So
crazy.
Kind of feel bad for the Bengals. I don't feel that bad for them because that means the Broncos are in the playoffs. So, that's what happens sometimes. So
I mean,
um,
with the rough start that they had at the beginning of the year, which nobody expected, none of us expected.
yeah,
But then we all kind of finally accepted, like, holy cow, these guys are bad this year. And then
yeah,
they've kind of pulled it back together. And I was kind of getting on the bandwagon, so to speak. I was kind of like, well, hey, this might be kind of cool to see Joe make a run after this season. You know, they started off
yeah,
so bad. And, well, guess not. It's
yeah.
going to be
All
the
right,
Bo
maybe
Nix
next
story.
year.
So, yeah, better luck next year. So, but the Bears got their win against the Green Bay Packers. Hey, what's the injury? What's the injury report? I figure you know because you seem to know everything. I think Elon has implanted Chat GPT in your head when it comes to the NFL because you appear to know everything that there is to know about the NFL at all times, especially when
Yes,
it comes to picking
maybe
games. And
unless.
given this last game, Jordan Love got hurt, I figure you know. See, am I giving you enough time to look it up?
Last I checked on it, it was day to day. So I think they're just being
Okay.
cagey with the information that they're putting out, how well he's doing or how bad he's doing. I think they're just gonna let folks guess until the day of. So um, I know the Packers are playing the Eagles. In I don't know. Do we already move on to this
No,
week's
we haven't.
games? But
I'm actually
I
perplexed
mean,
by.
there's
I was perplexed by Kevin's comment about 7 and 9. I was like, well, what's going on? I thought that's what I had you at. And then I screwed up the scroll here, and I have
yeah.
him at 7 and 8. So sorry, I was
Oh,
taken away
oh,
by that. So now I have to go and fix that.
yeah.
So
Well, but
you were saying
I guess
something?
the good thing is that I just remembered something I read 5 seconds ago is that Jordan Love is actually off the injury report for the Packers for this coming wild card weekend. So whether whether he's 100% and off the injury report or is he something less than that, I guess we'll find out. And I mean, I still have question marks around Jalen Hurts missed 2 games due to concussion. So
Yep.
and I know, like, I don't know, like when it comes to an elbow injury, okay, yeah, you'll rehab that, sit out a little bit, sit out some practices, rest it, ice it, do whatever, get it a shot of whatever. Yeah, okay. But when it comes to those concussions, it's such a serious issue in the last, well, the NFL has been taking it more seriously in the last couple of years that, like, if you don't clear the concussion protocol, you ain't playing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have a third party doc that's taking a look at you. So, I suppose if he clears the concussion protocol, I suppose he's ready to go.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I mean,
it's
dude,
so
I'm surprised. Like they have dudes in the stands that are like watching the game and
yeah,
radio down and like, whoa, he's
yep, take him
wobbling.
out.
Like, take him. Like, yeah, they take it way seriously. So yeah. But I think when it comes to next week, I think I went with in Saquon we trust. But
Yeah,
before we
yeah.
get there, we've got to talk about the season standings, which this week led us to. So let's do it. Let's swing it over there. And of course, I mistimed it, so I don't have it. What, Dave? No, end.
What
Dave is trying to
is Dave
call
calling
me.
you? Yeah,
Yes.
bring him in.
Oh my gosh! I'm in the middle of a show, you clown. I have it
He
on
probably
Do
wants
Not
to show you
Disturb.
an
He's probably
inappropriate
on the
picture.
on the whatever the select list, that thing. All right, let me try to get through these before he calls back.
Oh,
Myself and the Ag Man are
Dave should feel
tied.
so privileged.
Myself and the Ag Man have now managed to be, which this is amazing. 271 games have been played, and the standings are this tight. The Ag Man and I are tied at 196 and 75. Like, that's insane. And then you've got Sierra that's just 3 games back, 193 and 78. Again, 200, yeah. I think something like that. So 210 games? I don't know. A lot of games. 184 and 87 for yourself, Kevin's 183 and 88. Dave 182 and 89. So we're just going down one game, and then of course Robbie, this tanking Wally season, 180 and 91. I've got to take every opportunity
Wally
to
was
say
on
that.
the podium until Robbie came.
Yeah, I know. Wally was winning the league. Jeez. So I love that Robbie's. By the way, Robbie's a baseball guy, which man. Okay, I'm not even going to get into that. But we're going to have baseball stuff in the future. FYI, we're going to have little updates and stuff.
Baseball pick'em.
Yeah, well, not necessarily a pick'em, but I think the pick'em is going to drastically change next year. And I think we're going to start bringing in, it's going to be more of a complete sports show where we bring in little nuggets and not necessarily talk about everything every week, but little nuggets from the pertinent leagues, not the NBA. And
well, here's a little nugget for you. We were talking about
let's
MLB.
do it. Throw a nugget out there.
Who has the most no hitters in MLB history?
I think you're going to tell us.
I am. It's the same person that has the most one hitters, and the same person that has the most two hitters, and the person that has the most three hitters. And that would be none other than Nolan Ryan.
Well, of course, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah. Hometown, Refugio, Texas.
Well, how about that?
Go Texas.
Go.
All right. Well,
you're a wealth of information. So
there's your MLB knowledge for the day.
Well, thank you. So yes, next year we're going to have little nuggets such as that.
Everything you didn't ask for.
Yeah. And little updates from hockey when that's going on and things, so that we just it's more of a complete show. And then of course we'll hit more of the highlights of the pick'em itself. The pick'em will still live on and be played, and there's a grand trophy this year, by the way.
Can I just make a suggestion for next year? I love the fact that there's a trophy for the winner. I feel like we need there is a trophy for the loser.
Oh yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I guess I'm just not close enough to realize what that is.
It's the iron shaft with cowpie cluster.
Yes.
The iron shaft with cowpie cluster. Yeah. It's
I think there needs to be
stick.
some sort of public humiliation involved with that as well.
I like this. I might put you on the rules committee next year.
Yes.
I don't know that we have a rules committee, but I might implement one.
I'm appointing it myself, and I appoint myself in charge. There we go.
There you go. Right. Rules committee coming up. Boy, we're going places. Oh, man. 83 wins, 3 over goal. Yes, Kevin wanted 10 wins a week and 183 wins, by the way, 3 over goal. He only put 83 wins in there, but anyway, you get it. So yeah, there's the standings for it. Let's talk about the week to be. That starts actually tomorrow with a couple Saturday games, and one of those teams is my team, the San Diego. Oh, look at that. I did it. And I didn't even mean to. The Los Angeles Chargers, although now I guess I should say the Arizona Chargers. Oh, these poor guys. My God, the crap that's going on there is terrible. I just want to say that. But yeah, so anyway, my Chargers are playing tomorrow from some stadium somewhere at some time, but they're going to play the Houston Texans.
Well, the game's in Houston for that one, so.
So that's why they'll be there.
However, when we talk about the Rams game coming up, the Rams game is absolutely getting moved to Arizona. So.
See, I got so wrapped up in the whole LA thing that I did it. You get it. All right. So yeah, the LA Chargers will be in Houston, where Robbie is the lone pick'em for the Texans, which honestly I don't think is a bad pick. I mean, okay, we get to the playoffs, and wait, you got it.
Playoffs.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs.
There it is.
You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
But I mean, anything can happen on any given Sunday, blah, 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 all that good stuff. But I mean, it's at this point, these are decent teams that are in there. They've earned their way in there. This isn't a flop of a year where you had one league that was everybody was in the negative or below 500 and still somebody has to get in. It's not that year. So anyway, the Chargers are playing against the Texans. One person picked the Texans, but as I tend to do, I say to you and I ask you, is it this cut and dry? I mean, is it this straightforward? We talked about earlier the Robbie tanking the season, ha ha ha, and it's Robbie who went with the Texans. So theoretically, this is almost 7 votes, maybe call it 8 for the Chargers. Is it this simple?
I don't know if it's as simple, but the way I look at this is, kind of 2 things I have in the Chargers' favor in this game is, one, they have the best scoring defense in the NFL, and they've had it for most of the season, week in and week out, and they continue to do really well on the defensive side of the ball. So while I think they're still like a top 10 team for the yards they give up, but they keep their opponents out of the end zone. So number 1 scoring defense. So that's number 1. Number 2 is our honor roll nominee, Justin Herbert.
Hair
Bear.
Yeah.
He is Hair Bear. That's right. He is only the second NFL quarterback to have more than 500 pass attempts in a season and throw 3 or fewer interceptions. So he takes care of the ball better than any other quarterback that's out there. So I think the other quarterback that did that was like Aaron Rodgers.
That's what I was going to say, Aaron Rodgers. Yep.
But 500 pass attempts and only 3 interceptions. So extremely efficient for the ball. In the last 8 starts he's had on the road, 10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 106.8 passer rating. So dude is doing really, really well. So for those reasons, that's why I went with the Chargers over the Texans.
Okay, I like it. Hey,
however,
oh no, don't do it to me.
I was about to say, if the Texans come out in Oilers blue, which I don't think they can because I think the Titans own that, but if they were to come out in that, all bets are off.
Oh yeah. That uniform has kryptonite for all other teams. Yeah, right. It is. That uniform is sick. That is a great uniform. That's when I talk about the Denver uniform from earlier, like there's like top 5 uniforms. I can't remember offhand what they were, but Oilers were definitely one of them. And the Denver Broncos were another one. I just love that. I think probably the Bengals just with their cool Bengal helmet, anyway, but you get it. If the Oiler uniform came out, if it was applicable in this scenario, I would totally agree with you. However,
it's good for 10 extra points at least.
Guaranteed. Every time somebody should do the research on that. How much better does the team do when they pull out those uniforms? Maybe you're the man to do it.
So, and I think didn't the Titans wear that uniform the last week of the season?
Yeah. They I think they've done it now twice when they played Houston.
Play the Texans.
Yeah, so they're doing it to troll them now. It's gotta be. I mean, one time is like, well, maybe, but now 2 times and them being in a row, yeah, they're trolling them, and I kind of like it. I'm here for it. So, anyway, whatever. Next game. Moving on. Lamar Jackson against Russell Wilson. We all went with Lamar. It's in Baltimore. Yeah. Everybody, we're unanimous. The only game we're unanimous on, and it's for Baltimore. I think this is a safe pick because earlier I said, all these teams deserve to be in there, but if there's one that it's like, okay, you had to remove one team that who deserves it the least? Maybe it's the Steelers, in my opinion, but okay, you're going to refute me. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, is that because your low opinion of your boy Russell Wilson?
Yes, that is definitely a factor. I'll say that.
So, no, for me, what I say a couple weeks ago, you take a look at the streaky teams, whether they're win streak or losing streaks, and Steelers they've lost four in a row. Ravens, they've won four in a row. In the last meeting, 34-17, Ravens victory, and Henry went off for 162 yards that game. So that game wasn't that long ago either. So, you know, Ravens at home, division rival, even in the first round of the playoffs. Even though the Steelers did win the first game this season, albeit by like 2 or 3 points in Pittsburgh. I got to give the nod to the Ravens in
I
this
think
one.
Fields was playing at that time, wasn't he?
Ooh, probably. I mean,
Yeah.
early enough in the season. That's
Yeah.
probably right.
All right. Let's talk about the next one, of which you are the
Let's
lone
talk
check
about it.
mark that is with
Yeah.
the Denver Broncos. Why'd you go with the Broncos over the Bills?
Well, first up, the Broncos' first playoff appearance in 9 years. The whole franchise is going to be pumped about this. So, second is that the last time they met, they played in Buffalo, and the Broncos won that 24-22 last season. So, that's the first two reasons. Next is that the Bills, or I guess that's the reason why I'm going with the Broncos. Plus, my wife told me to. But
Okay,
I think
fair enough.
always my wife told me to when it comes to the Broncos. But I think the interesting matchup here is going to be, on both sides of the ball, the Bills offense versus the Broncos defense, and then, vice versa, because the Bills are number 2 in scoring offense, and the Broncos are number 3 in scoring defense. So
Oh,
number
wow.
2 versus number 3. And then flip that, the Bills have the number 11 scoring defense, and the Broncos have the number 11 scoring offense.
Oh,
So
my gosh.
on both sides of the ball, and I might have got one of those wrong. The Bills might be the number 10 scoring defense, and the Broncos
Whatever. It's
number 11
close.
scoring. But either way, they are evenly matched. Offense versus defense, and then defense versus offense. So I think it's going to be an interesting game. I think it's going to be closer than what the Vegas odds are right now, wherever that stands. Last I saw, it was like an 8.5 point Buffalo margin on it. So
Yeah, I would think it's
uh,
probably around there.
but let's take a
Yeah,
look
you
here.
go ahead and take a look. Typically, I have an
I
iPad in
don't
front of
know
me,
what
so I
that.
know. But I, of course, don't. By the way,
So,
Kevin, if you're watching and paying attention, this week I
oh
used
no,
Justin Herbert as the in our little ticker over there on the far left. He's our little games of the week now segment thing, whatever, representative. So
nice.
yeah,
So what about you? Why the Bills?
the Bills, because they're the Bills, and the Broncos are, well, okay, I think the Bills are better overall, but then I throw in
Shut
the
your
fact
mouth.
that the Broncos are, granted, I mean, I'm all for it. I like Bo Nix and what he's doing, and it's exciting to watch, and I'm glad to see the Broncos doing well. But I just don't think that matches up against Josh Allen and Buffalo, especially in Buffalo. Granted, holy cow, the weather's going to be brutal, but both teams have to play in it. But yeah, I just it's hard not to pick the Bills regardless of who they're playing, unless they're playing like the Chiefs, But yeah, that's why I went with the Bills, definitely.
Yeah,
So
but the Bills beat the Chiefs this year, didn't they?
yeah,
Was
probably.
that the
Yeah,
one
yeah.
the one Chiefs loss? So 9.5 point spread, by the way, is what it is at the moment.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. Let's talk about Green Bay and in Saquon we trust. Now you said
Ew,
you
I'm
went,
also the only one.
yeah, you went against them because Jalen, the situation with the concussions concerns you, or at least that's part of it, of the reason that you went with Green Bay. Now Jordan Love, as we either talked about on the show or just before the show, is off the injury report.
That's right.
Which is surprising. It originally, well, of course, I was getting information via the text thread. I was not at a point where I was getting information from either the TV or an app. So I heard that he might have broke his elbow, and I was like, oh man. Anyway, so I guess what was it? Do you know? Was it a funny bone thing? I heard that too. Now that I think of it.
I'm not sure what the actual injury was, like, what the diagnosis was, but I saw the replay where when he threw the ball, that it was a player coming in right underneath him. So he just, hit the top of uh, hit his elbow to the top of the helmet. So,
Yikes.
probably stung a little bit. But yeah, they say he's off the injury report. So I guess we'll see. But for me, um, you know, uh, I, uh, I think they're pretty, evenly matched teams. The NFC North, the gauntlet that the Packers have had to go through this year, not you Bears, but the rest of it, between the Lions and the Vikings,
Yeah.
they've had to play some pretty stout teams, and even the losses that the Packers have had within the division. You look at, I think they've lost twice to both the Lions and the Vikings. So between those four losses, though, I think it was like a combined total of like 17 points that they lost those four games by. So they're playing like really, really primo competition there in the NFC North, and they're playing really well. Whereas conversely, you look at the Eagles playing the Cowboys twice and the Giants twice, and the Commanders, albeit a playoff team, have kind of been more streaky this year than maybe some of the other playoff teams. So, anyways, I get it that the game's in Philadelphia, right?
Yeah.
I think the game's in Philadelphia, but I'm kind of hedging my bets a little bit, maybe also trying to get a little distance between myself and whoever I'm tied with right now as well. So maybe I can
I
do it
think
with my
you're
two flyer picks
one
this
game
week.
up on Kevin right now. Overall, yeah.
One game up. That's right. One game up. So maybe I'll be one. Maybe we'll be tied now. So
Hey,
we'll see.
hey, not a bad one to take one
What about
on.
you? Why the
In
Eagles
Saquon, we
and
trust.
Saquon you trust? Yeah.
I probably should have paid more attention to Jalen, but it's just been so Saquon heavy that Jalen, there hasn't been a lot of talk about him. I'm not sure what he's been doing. I'm sure he's throwing the ball around and doing Jalen like things. I mean, I'm not saying he's having a bad year, but Saquon is just shining so much that Jalen, if he's doing a whole bunch, isn't even having to. It's just the cherry on top, so to speak. So that's why I would go with Philadelphia. Give me an extra half point for it being in Philly. I mean, whatever.
Who are you talking about? Jordan?
Jalen. Was I saying Jordan? I was talking
No, you're saying Jalen, but who are you talking about?
Jalen with his concussion is what I meant.
Hurts.
Yeah. Jalen Hurts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts. Sorry, I was thinking of Jaden Daniels.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was like,
I need
good
you to
God,
use
what
last
was I
names,
saying?
please.
Let me start over. No.
Got it. Yeah. Even if the Eagles, even if there's issues at quarterback there, I mean, you still have Saquon to lean back on.
Yeah.
So
And anybody
and they
can
still
give
have,
him the ball. Hell, they can snap him the
yeah.
ball. And so far, I mean, people know he's coming, and he's done what he's done. He would have broke the record, albeit with an extra game, but would have broken the record had he played last week, but he didn't play. So whatever. Yeah, let's talk about the Jaden then, shall we? Jaden Daniels. I actually picked against him. I kind of probably rookie factor a little bit in this, and the fact that I'm sorry, I know Baker's your boy, as we say jokingly, because he's definitely not. But he's slinging that ball. He's slinging the pill. Now he's got some talent to sling it too, but Baker is having a year. So I am not at all upset picking the Buccaneers. However, I wouldn't be upset seeing Jaden Daniels win and seeing that Washington team do something. I mean, that would be pretty cool. So why did you go with Washington over Tampa Bay? Is it just because of Baker, or is there actual reason?
No, that's it.
Okay, fair enough.
No,
Great analysis. The man of many words.
Glad I could help. No, it is primarily because of Jaden Daniels. So I know that sounded like that might have been kind of the reason why you went the other way, is just because you got the rookie
Well,
factor, rookie first game ever in the playoffs, right? So
yeah, I
how
mean,
is he going to perform under that pressure on the road, right? So for me, I look at kind of his resume this season, where he's had you know over nearly 3,500 yards passing as a rookie and just under, I think, 900 yards rushing. So when you look at 900 yards rushing for a quarterback, are you flipping kidding me? Like, he's
I know
got
it's
more
like
rushing
Michael
yards than
Vick.
a lot of starting running backs out there. So I'm just bringing up some rushing stats right now, because the one that pops off of the top of my head is like Jet starting running back Brees Hall, I think, is at like 800 and something yards. So Jane Daniels, yeah. So he beat out Brees Hall, Ramondre Stevenson, Brian Robinson Jr., David Montgomery. I get it. Gibbs is there. Tank Bigsby. So he's out rushing a lot of starting running back, or some starting running backs out there. Uh, Quarterback finished number 23 in the league this year in rushing yards.
Man,
So
and had a decent
um,
year throwing it around as well.
Oh, absolutely. So I think, like we saw with Stroud last year, awesome rookie season. So as we were talking about, earlier on, talking about kind of foreshadowing, other rookies that we're going to talk about later on. This is one of them. We didn't talk about it, but your boy out there in Los Angeles, McConkey's a rookie,
Oh
right? So
yeah,
he's
yeah,
doing
yeah.
really awesome out there as well.
He's
So
man,
um,
he's having a
and
day.
then again, I think every year when I go to a fantasy football draft, just on the flip side, not the Commanders, but the Buccaneers. Every year I go into a fantasy football draft, and I've got my eye on Mike Evans, because there's three things that are guaranteed in this life:
That
death, taxes, and Mike Evans is going to get you 1,000 yards. And we saw it again just on the last
was
play
so
of the
cool. That
last
was cool.
last game. Got his, what is it, 11th straight
Yeah,
year with over 1,000 yards, which
ties Jerry
uh,
Rice,
ties Joey Rice for
bro.
most consecutive. Like, if I'm a NFL receiver, I'm like, wait, I just tied Jerry Rice. Like,
At
those were records
anything,
that you heard growing up. Like, these aren't ever going to be touched.
yeah.
So he again, I maintain that the rest of the receiving core is what makes Baker Mayfield look as good as people seem to think he is. So again, uh, Bucks might pull it out based off of that potent offense, that receiving core, Bucky Irving, and who's the other running back there? White.
Oh shoot,
Is that those?
I can't even remember because
Yeah.
I know
Either
Godwin and
way,
Evans. Granted.
they got a
Anyway,
lot of offensive weapons there. So, but I still give the nod to the Commanders in this one. I got the Jaden Daniels glasses on, so I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I'll go with
yeah.
the Commanders.
Jaden Daniels rose-colored glasses, whatever.
That's right.
By the way, I'm a little late to the fight on this one, but
Yeah,
Jordan
yeah, go
Love
ahead.
has an irritated ulnar nerve. I'm sure that hurts. So he's got that going
You
for him,
irritate my
which is nice.
nerves.
Yeah, well, thank you. By the way, this is the game where we have the closest to an even split. Um,
No, it is. Yeah,
yeah.
4-3 there, huh?
So we have. I mean, we've covered most bases on this. We have a flat out everybody picked one team. That's the Baltimore. We have a few flyers from different people. We have a even spread on one. Well, as close as we can get. So
Yeah.
anyway, moving on.
And then Monday Night Football.
Monday night. Yeah, Monday Night Football is going to be the going
Andrew,
on the road.
Andrew, I'm shaking my head at you.
Yeah, he's not happy with the Vikings right now. He said they let him down. So, wow. Wait,
He calls himself a fan. He should be so disappointed in himself. I am going to screenshot this and send it to the franchise and revoke his fandomhood. He never gets to root for the
revoke
Vikings
his
ever
Vikings
again.
card.
Yes,
His-
he can take his horns and turn them in. Wow, picking against his team in the playoffs.
that's
I've
tough.
never
That's a
seen it,
tough look.
folks.
That's a tough look, especially, man. Now, I mean, he said they let him down last week. It's just wow.
All they had to do was win, and they could have been waiting.
Yeah, they would have had a week off
this week for the divisional round.
It's amazing that granted they're not 14-2 anymore. They're 14-3. A 14 win team is in the wild card round. What?
Wild.
Hey-o. Anyway, I went with the Vikings. I don't know, man. Sam, I've been waiting for I've been waiting for it to fall apart for Sam all year, and it just hasn't. Now, last week, did he have the most stellar performance? No, but I mean, it was against the Dan Campbell-led freaking Lions, and the Lions were wearing that uniform. So, anyway,
I think one thing to be worried about, I suppose, if you're a Vikings fan, is earlier on in the season, the Vikings lost to the Lions, and then the following week they lost to the Rams.
Oh, so really? Is that how it went down?
They lost to the Lions.
Was that
week, and now they're playing the Rams. Yep, that's exactly how it went.
Wow,
so,
dude, that is next level. Holy cow, yeah. That is a stat right there. That. Wow.
You know what's funny is that in both the losses, the Vikings losses, the Lions put up 31 points against them in both games. Unfortunately, the Vikings only put up 9 points this time, whereas the first time they put up 29 against the Lions. So, and then the Rams put up 30 points against them last time. So, yeah, you get 30 points against the old Vikings there. You probably got a pretty good shot. When you put up 30 points against anybody in the NFL, you probably got a pretty good shot.
Decent shot,
I think. So, yeah.
How healthy is LA right now, Mr. Chat GPT in the head knows everything about football?
No idea.
Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp both healthy with a healthy Matthew Stafford thrown to him?
I'm not tracking any significant injuries for the Rams, at least from those players that you said. So
yeah, I usually have my iPad out here. I did a really bad job of getting ready.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm not seeing anything. The only thing I see is an offensive tackle is questionable, and then a backup running back is on injured reserve.
Wow. Okay.
So. And there might be some other things in there that I'm not seeing initially, but yeah, from those players you said, I think they're good to go. So yeah, we will. I think it's both teams. I don't think the Vikings have any.
Yeah, no, the Vikings
skill
are pretty
players
healthy.
out either. So
yeah.
So yeah, I think on the Los Angeles side, you talked about Stafford, Nacua, Kupp. Kupp missed a few games earlier on in the season, but I think he's been back and he's been kind of up and down a couple times this season. But then Kyron Williams, the running back, he's been doing awesome all year long. I think he finished somewhere in the top of the league in rushing yards this year, so, or at least in the top 10. So doing pretty good year for him.
Yeah.
Also, he did pretty good for my fantasy team as well.
Fair enough. I went well, whatever. My fantasy year got ruined in the championship. So as always, well, I usually don't even make it that far, but anyway, we both went with the Vikings. Andrew went with the Rams and should be, as you did, should be flogged publicly for that.
Yes.
That said, it's actually not a totally off the wall pick. Granted, yeah, I'll just say that. But I do want to add insult to injury by telling you that the honor roll champion for this week happens to be from the team that played against the Vikings. Mr. Jahmyr Gibbs. Sorry about it. Dano, 23 rushes, 139 yards, 3 tutties, 5 receptions, 31 yards. threw a tutty in there as well. Well, I mean, caught for a tutty, but you get it. 4 tutties himself, on a roll champion. Absolutely, Mr. Jameer Gibbs on a roll last week. Doesn't even have to play this week now. Can recover from being absolutely planted by the Vikings. There you go. There's my Vikings comeback for Andrew if he's anywhere out there in the comments. So, anything to say about
Probably
Mr.
regretting his life choices at the moment.
Of course, as he should. So yeah, that's it. As voted on by the peeps, you all. And this week there will be a new honor roll poll out there. And if you want to vote on that, do yourself a favor and screenshot this screen right here, and that will allow you to go back to it in your photos and hold your thumb, finger, whatever on any one of these QR codes. It'll take you to that site. So obviously the YouTube one goes to YouTube, Instagram one goes to Instagram. The bottom 2 there are also Instagram ones. Second from the bottom, the one that has the duck face with it, is dtd.bigskycountry. A regular on this show, Mr. Agman himself, Andrew, runs that account. That's great content out there. Very Viking-centric as well, if you're a Vikings fan, and very cat-centric. There it is.
Nailed it.
Yeah. Which it's a great follow. And then the guy that does the designs for the little things like this over here, the Sportniks, that's that bottom QR code that will take you to his Instagram, where you can, I mean, he can do Sportniks of anything. He does. Yeah. I've seen Sportniks of, it's called Sportniks, but of like Kiss, the band Kiss. And like, I mean, he does all sorts of stuff. It's pretty cool. Go check it out. So, yeah, so that's the socials of this stuff. Anything else we need to get to before we get the heck out of here and allow me to finally go have some dinner?
There you go. No, I think we covered it all. Pretty all-inclusive data analysis. I love it. So,
yeah, well, you're on point as
always. For those of you paying attention, Ohio State is up on Texas 7-0 right now. So.
Well, how about that? We got a game to get to then. Guys, we thank you absolutely for watching. You guys are the absolute best. We love you all. Dano, thanks for coming on, co-hosting. You're the best.
Yep.
And
Agreed.
shoot, always good for. Anyway, yeah, let's get the heck out of here, dude. Let's go have some dinner and some football and all that good stuff. Yeah, all right. I hope you get. Yeah. Oh, he's working out again. Look at him go. Look at him go. I'm not fading off of this. Wait, that's. Oh, he's got his wife's weights out. It's his wife's weights. What's going on?